Um, okay, so let's take a look at first at SPY. We basically are kind of like a stock on this descending wedge right now. Um, we basically spent the whole Friday making kind of like a bear flag um, on the 15 minutes. On you can see it on the hourly too. We got rejected at the top of that trend 4 times. So it's actually a pretty strong resistance that we have right now. I think if we break that to the upside, we are probably gonna test the top of that descending wedge or flag, and maybe even break to the upside. Right now, 4 hours still bullish, and we actually gaining space. The only thing that I don't like is that we are basically getting less buying pressure right now. So there's a possibility of basically crossing down and revisiting the bottom at those negative 3.7. If that happened, I think we're probably gonna go to 390. Um, Remember, most of the times, this type of trends tends to break to the downside. We basically had a hard rejection at the top. We did a double bottom on this one. You see here, this is the first bottom. Second bottom, I ended up actually going to the neckline and basically getting rejected again there. So main support is gonna be at those 394. If we break down from there, we definitely gonna see those 390s. If we break to the upside, I think the main resistance is basically at 400. We still have a little gap to fill, and that might actually be a pretty good magnet on SPY. um, what I think is that there are more possibilities of breaking down than breaking up. So keep that in mind. All right, the main pick that I have for tomorrow is Nike. If you go to the daily, you can see that we basically have a PMG to the downside. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 candles doing lower highs and lower lows. So I think if we trigger those 118.73, which is basically the daily trigger, we gonna start breaking levels to the upside and trigger that PMG. Remember, the PMG we usually cover 2 or 3 candles with 1 candle. We get enough momentum to go up and cover basically 2 to 3 candles, maybe even more. But I usually put it between 2 and 3 candles. So if that happens and we trigger the PMG, there's a possibility of going to those 120.77. If you look at the 4 hours, I think the 4 hours is bullish on this one, but we are actually a little down. So again, if we trigger, I think my target is gonna be 120.77. The premiums are expensive on this one, so I'm probably gonna go with maybe 123, 124. That's one of the main reasons that I like this one, basically the PNG. Looking at levels on this one, my main trigger for calls is basically gonna be 118.73, which is this one over here. If we trigger that, the next one is gonna be basically 119.22. We have this little candle over here, but that happened kind of pre-market, so it's a little weak, and it's only one passing by. So I'm putting it there, but just keep in mind. Anyway, still remember what I mentioned before. Whole numbers tends to be uh, basically resistance and support. This candle is basically breaking down at those 119. So keep those whole numbers in your mind. Anyway, over 119.22, the next one is going to be 119.68. I think if we break this one, we are probably going to go back to those 120.77 on the daily trigger. For puts, basically 117.59, that's going to put us back inside that trend. Under that, we basically go to 117.66, and the other one is gonna be basically 116.910. So there's a lot of room to drop down on this one too. I do like the 4 hours, even though we haven't got so much buying pressure still. But I think we're probably gonna see a little more movement on the upside if we trigger that PMG. Let's take a look at dark pool on this one. We have a lot of flow coming in. Basically, have $21.2 million. I came in on On Friday, we have $8.57 million that came in at the end of the day. So yeah, we have pretty good accumulation right now. Uh, I think we have basically 3 days accumulation on this one. Just give me 2 seconds. I'm gonna cover the questions at the end of the day. I mean, at the end of the session. Sorry. But yeah, 3 days accumulation on this one. So I think there's a big possibility of having a run tomorrow. That's gonna be my favorite setup if we trigger on the daily. Puts, I'm not a big fan right now because we don't have so much pairs to go and we have basically the trend. I think if we trigger calls, again, we're probably gonna see a nice movement on this one. The next one I'm gonna have is gonna be pins. Uh, we go to the daily, you can see that we did basically an inside day. So I'm expecting more volatility tomorrow on this one. We kind of stuck right now in a megaphone. We test the top uh, 4 times already and we got rejected there. We actually are doing kind of like a double top, even though we actually cover around this. I think there's a possibility of dropping down to those 2480s, 2470s. Um, there's kind of like a small ascending triangle on the hourly inside that big megaphone. So I think if we drop those 2480, there's a big possibility of start reversing back down to the bottom of the megaphone, which is basically sitting at 2385. This one actually moved extremely fast. You guys saw that on Thursday and Wednesday. We did actually extremely good on this one. I think we did around 400%. So I'm expecting more volatility on this one. If we actually break that trend, I think we're probably gonna go back to those 2650s, 27. So keep it in mind. Levels to watch on this one. I'm gonna be looking at 2517 for call. There's a lot of candles passing by at that level. We see basically rejections and using it as a support. So that's gonna be basically the main level to watch. 2517. Over that we're gonna go to 2527, and after that we're gonna go to 2536. Over those 2536, we're probably gonna touch the top of that trend at 2550. For puts, I'm gonna be looking at 2493, which is this one over here. It's only one candle. Basically, no, we have a little more here. We have a lot of candles here, so that's a really good support. Breaking from those 2593 is gonna send us to 2580. On the 2580, we're gonna break that ascending triangle. So we're probably gonna cover this little gap over here, 2450, 2440. So on the 2480, we go to 2468, and then 2457, which is basically the level before the gap. So I think if you drop that, definitely we're gonna cover that. So I do like it for puts on this one. Let's take a look at the 4 hours. We're definitely closing down on 4 hours. So I think we're probably gonna see a little more reversal on this one. Let's take a look at that pool. Still a lot of accumulation of those 25s. 2 days only. 2 days only. So 2 days and a half. So I think we're probably gonna see some profit taken on this one. Remember, this one has been running for quite some time. I think it had a 4-day run, 3-day run, something like that. So maybe we see a small profit taken on this one, and they drop it down to 2460, 2450. Yeah, I think that's probably gonna happen. I do like that MACD's DMA is basically closing down the 4 hours. So maybe we see a little more dropping down to the 0 level. Alright, so the next one is gonna be, believe it or not, AMC. If you look at the daily on this one, we're basically making an inside day. Pretty strong candle that we had on Friday. If you see, we basically dropped 3 cents, ended up actually red 3 cents. So it had a pretty good day on Friday. It actually held really good. The main thing on this one is basically the cup and handle. You can see it here. We basically had this little cup, this little handle. It's only 3 candles right now. Maybe we do another consolidation day, but that inside day is telling me that we're probably gonna see that momentum out tomorrow. We go to the 1 hour. You can see here the flag or the handle. We're basically trending in the middle. So a sudden movement might either send us to the top and test those 650, or send us down and basically drop those 6 and go back to those 572. Looking at the 4 hours, we're basically are trending to the downside right now. Stock is actually holding really good. I think again, if we actually cross to the upside, we're probably gonna visit the top. We're probably gonna visit the top. Selling pressure is diminishing right now. It's pretty small actually right now, 0.5. Still, I think we're probably gonna go back to the zero level, maybe do a little more consolidation, and we see the breakout tomorrow in the afternoon. Either way, actually close green on after hours on Friday. They have earnings this week also, so I think we see that handle from the cup and handle breakout probably tomorrow with the momentum from the earnings, or the day after tomorrow. They haven't won Tuesday. All right, so I think we're probably gonna see it tomorrow. Premiums are gonna be expensive, so be a little careful with this one. All right, so levels on this one. Gonna be looking at 627 for calls. That level is probably gonna change tomorrow morning because I think it's probably gonna run on pre-market. All right, so if that happens, I'm gonna go with the next one, which is basically 634, and after that we have 642. I think the main level to break is gonna be those 650s. As you see over here, we basically had a lot of candles passing by, so I think that's gonna be the main level. It's also the top of the flag, so I think we break that. We're gonna go with the highest on Thursday, which is basically 665, 667. For puts, 608 is my my level for puts. On the dot, we're gonna go to 6, and then we go to 591. Under this, we're probably gonna go to the bottom of the flag, which is basically at 572. It works for either way. We have basically we are in the middle of the flag, so we have room to go up or to go down. So I think this is actually a pretty good pick. Also, whenever we play on earnings week, we tend to get a little more IV on premiums, and we can make some extra money from there, especially AMC. This one actually get pretty heavy IV. All right, so let's take a look at Bank of America and let's take a look at American Airlines, since we are holding basically some swing on this one. Bank of America already paid, but I'm still holding half of my, I think it's 35 contracts. The main thing on Bank of America, what I mentioned, I think on Thursday, is that we are trending kind of like a descending wedge or flag right now. It basically tests the bottom of that flag 4 times already. So I think if we bounce from here, there's a possibility of going back to those 35.50s, which is basically the premium that we are basically playing. We still have a week, so it's fine. Also, one of the things that I'm seeing right now is basically this double bottom on Bank of America. We basically had this one. So I think my target right now is 35.40. I mean, sorry, 34.40 on that double bottom. You can see it here, which is basically the neckline. We actually tried to break it out at those 34.30s, but we actually got rejected there at the end of the day. I think we have a lot of possibilities of making it in there tomorrow, at least on opening. And I think if we break that neckline, we definitely gonna go to those 34.50 or the top of the flag. We're not so far away. So it's actually looking good. All right, the next one is basically American Airlines. Similar situation. There's a lot of stocks actually having a similar situation, kind of like a double support right now. American Airlines, we have a little gap between 1631 and 1619. Right now, we did a double bottom with basically a bullish divergence. If you see over here, look at the MACD demand the 4 hours on this one, and you're gonna be able to see where we are. We tried to break down on that second double bottom, but it never did, which is this section over here, and now it's actually going up. Whenever that happens, if you see at the picture, the main target or the first target is gonna be basically the neckline. On this case, I'm putting my neckline around 16, which is basically 1593, 1610. I think 16 is probably gonna be my neckline on this trend, because first of all, it's a whole number, and second of all, it's one of those main resistance that we need to break that we got rejected, I think, like a couple times. See this rejection over here and this one over here. That's basically my main target. We also playing 16 on this one, 16C. So I think we're probably gonna make it there. If it's not tomorrow, the day after tomorrow. This one has been having a lot of volatility. You can see this one, this candle over here 2 days ago. Then with the drop, and it basically dropped with the market. It had a couple handle on Friday, but ended up actually dropping with the market. Again, we actually testing the bottom of that trend. So I think if we actually hold, there's the big possibility of going to 16. I might switch to puts if we break 1536. That's basically where we bounced 3 times on Friday. So if we break that, probably gonna sell for a loss and switch to puts because there's a big possibility also of testing basically 15, which is down here, just this level over here. We kind of failed that gap that we have from before, basically from 1580 to 1540, which is also good news because in that way we don't gonna have it as a magnet. And right now we have a gap to the in the upside between 1630 and 1618. This is probably one of my favorite setup for either tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. But again, I'm not gonna call it because we are already in it. We're already in it. But yeah, under 1536, I might actually cut. Hold on, let's take a look at the dark pool, Bank of America, and American Airlines. Still a lot of accumulation on this one. They basically got a lot of shares at those 1538, which is basically where we bounced from. So it's actually good news. Let's take a look at Bank of America now. More accumulation on this one too. If you see, we've basically been trending around that level for a long time. 34.20, 34.30. So again, I'm expecting a bigger movement on banks in general this week. Still, I'm gonna see what happens with this one. This is probably one of my main picks for tomorrow too. But since I'm holding already swings on this one for this week, basically, there's no reasons to call it. Alright, so my main thing for tomorrow is definitely gonna be that PMG on Nike. If we trigger, we're probably gonna see a nice movement up. If we trigger this one, I do like AMC too, but again, it has earnings on Tuesday, so has to be a little more careful because volatility is gonna be crazy on this one. SPY is looking bearish on the short term, and it's looking bullish on the long term. Alright, we might actually form kind of like an inverse head and shoulder with the first shoulder here. This is the head, second shoulder around here. If that happens, I think 400 again is gonna be the target. So, but again, anything can happen with SPY. So far, this type of trends tend to break to the downside. Alright, so let's